Hey everyone, this is Louis7, and today I have a patch review for update 28.3.1 in the Lord of the Rings Online, which contains the whole legendary item scroll mini rework that's been going on that nearly everybody hates so far, but it does include some other changes and improvements that we will cover as well. And for reference, the update should be live around when this video is uploaded actually, with the scheduled maintenance on February 1st today from 8 AM to 12 PM Eastern. But moving into the patch notes, the very first thing we have is with cosmetic pets, and summoning cosmetic pets will no longer break stealth, so now your cosmetic pets are very sneaky as it highlights in the notes. And that sounds like just a nice quality of life feature to me. And then moving on, there's an update to the game launcher. I know a lot of people are having issues updating the game actually, and it looks like for some unpatched Windows 7 and earlier operating systems, that is where people were having trouble updating, so you should be able to update if you are running into that issue now with the launcher. So moving on to the housing changes, and for anybody unfamiliar actually, you get vendor discounts if you own a house in a neighborhood. So like the Rohan neighborhood, this is where the first changes in the notes is you will get a vendor discount in the Rohan neighborhood if you own a house there. And you can get discounts at the supplier, provisioners, healers, the ambience, furnisher, and housing broker, so all the usual vendors. And additionally, in the supplier that is summoned by the Gondorian supplier horde, no matter what neighborhood you're in, that will also give appropriate vendor discounts, and this is based on the highest discount from any of your housing passive skills. And moving on to the item section, there's the heavy armor item called Winter Tusk Hide Helmet that will now offer might instead of agility, which seems appropriate for heavy armor. And then the same is actually true, or the opposite is true for the medium armor version, which will now offer agility instead of might, because Beornings now use heavy armor, so that wouldn't be relevant to them, and Wardens, the days of might Wardens is long gone. And then moving on to the legendary items, finally, we have the Dol Amroth Quartermaster who gives the Scrolls of Empowerment. That will be max tier 59 scrolls now for 15 Amroth silver pieces instead of the max tier 44 for 20 Amroth silver pieces. And I will point out, I probably should have done this before, just in general, the amount of scrolls you get is broadly increased and have a little bit lower requirements just in general. But also with the Rangers of Ithilien, so in South Ithilien, they will now be max tier 64 for 12 pieces, 12 East Gondor silver pieces instead of max tier 59 for 15. And then finally in Minas Tirith, the max tier 69 will be available for 3 Minas Tirith Smiths tokens rather than max tier 59 for 4 Smiths tokens. And then we have some changes to the quest. So the Host of the West silver pieces daily and weekly, they will now award 2 Scrolls of Empowerment and 5 Scrolls of Empowerment respectively. And that would be up from 1 and 3. And also the new scrolls will be max tier 74 instead. And then moving on to the level 115 stuff with restoring the 3 kingdoms, that will be max tier 79. And you'll get 5 of those instead of max tier 69 at 3 was what it used to be. And then the 3 quests and the level 120 stuff that used to reward 2 Scrolls of Empowerment at max tier 79, they will now reward 3 Scrolls of Empowerment with max tier 83, and max tier 83 is actually the max tier in the game right now. And also with those quests, it's protecting the Beornings, protecting the Elves, protecting the Woodmen. Those will now actually properly work twice weekly, so you can do those 2 times a week. So you actually can get a total of 6 Scrolls of Empowerment a week from those, up from 2 from the previous version. So that's a pretty big change there, even if it's still only 6 scrolls per each of those quests a week. But those are the legendary item changes, a little bit of a buff compared to what we used to have as far as Scrolls of Empowerment go from update 28.3. But moving on to the PvMP changes, it looks like there's some ongoing balance changes still going on, and I just don't play PvMP, so I can't comment personally on how these changes may actually improve the experience over there or not. But first off, the creep core stats have had their range compressed, so it looks like the difference between a core stat that was 1 to 5 is now 2 to 4. And also the corruptions will grant less BPE, so block, parry, and evade, and also modestly less physical mitigation, and it looks like you'll have to use more corruptions to achieve a tanky build. And then also the War Leader skill on your feet has been reverted to a non-warband effect, so my understanding is that would work like raid wide or just to any ally being creeps around you. And then finally there's another change to War Leader with Slick Flush and Quitters Never Win. Those have also been changed to a warband effect instead of a non-warband effect. And then finally at the end of the patch notes here we have some quest and adventure areas updates. And this is probably one of the saddest changes is Gandalf is no longer going to be floating in pre-battle Minas Tirith. I am really going to miss floating Gandalf, but other than that there have been some other floating changes. It looks like there are floating and buried resource nodes in Rohan that should be more properly at the surface where they belong. And they also fixed an issue with some stairs in the gates of Gundabad, and I don't know if that means like the orcs did a repair or there is an actual bug in the game is more likely with the stairs. And then finally they did some French and German translation updates, and there's actually one more thing I almost missed, is they also fixed an issue with the quest Elder Slade supply packs where it was asking you to turn it into the wrong NPC. And I don't think I ever did that quest to even notice that issue, but it is good that it refers to the right NPC now, I think. So alright, that is everything in the update 28.3.1 in LOTRO, and now I want to share my opinions on the stuff, and I won't repeat myself on the whole Embiid legendary item scroll changes and all that. If you do want something more thorough or just all my thoughts more summarized better on that, do check out my update 28.3 video I did. But for here, it is a little bit better in terms of the grind, and I do still think it's worse than before update 28.3 though. And overall, the new update and the one we're getting in this patch 28.3.1, it just doesn't make much sense to me actually. So one of the big reasons they did this change in the first place was so that you got scrolls of empowerment that were capped at an appropriate tier for whatever level of region you were going through. But with this update, it almost totally negates that. Like the Host of the West, for example, is now in line with level 120, but Host of the West is level 105 content. Similarly, the level 120 now rewards what's in line with level 130, and it just doesn't make much sense to me anymore with that. So even though the grind is not as bad now, which is a good thing compared to update 28.3, but still I think worse than before that, but this update here totally goes against the original philosophy of the update in a way that does not make sense, and I just don't know what else to say about that. But for the rest of this update, it was mostly the typical usual stuff. I admittedly, as I said, I am sad we will no longer have Floating Gandalf. And that is all for the patch, but there is actually one more thing I want to do at the end of this video, and that is give a mini channel update. So as you all have seen, I have finally been getting the annual gameplays uploaded. I do expect to have a couple more weeks of that, and I will start doing both WoW and LOTRO videos every morning, it looks like. But outside of that, I have been super busy with school, so I have not had much time to do anything that I have really wanted as far as content creation goes. A lot of plans have gotten a little bit delayed because of this, but hopefully things get better in a week or two. And there are honestly so many plans and ideas I have for videos that I want to do, but there's just no time to do them all. So just a few things to highlight that I do have like solid plans and definitely want to do is the first is debuting commentary versions of the annual gameplay videos, at least for LOTRO to start. The plan is these will be half discussion and half guide, so do be on the lookout for those. Hopefully this month. I will really appreciate some feedback on that and how helpful they are. But I also eventually do want to get back into the Endgame and LOTRO series, which I only have part 1 of, and that was a few months ago now. But yeah, I have a couple topics somewhat planned out for that. And I also do have actual solid plans for some other commentaries in LOTRO, and maybe even in one in World of Warcraft, which could be interesting, I think. But yeah, I really just wanted to give this sort of status update because things have been crazy for me the past couple weeks. I feel like my sense of time and progression of things has just been so warped and off track for me. It's just been crazy and super busy for me. But outside of that, as usual, if you all do have feedback, I would love to hear it as far as my channel goes and as far as this video goes, but also as far as this video goes, I hope you all enjoyed it and learned something useful about update 28.3.1 in the Lord of the Rings Online. And if you did, please consider liking and subscribing for more, and thanks for watching, everyone.